Hey everybody, welcome to my first thrift flip video. For the past couple years, I've seen a lot of sheer clothing trending on like Runway and on Pinterest. Maybe it's a little late for the trend because it has been a couple years, but in 2023 there were still quite a few designers who had sheer pieces on the runway. And recently, I thrifted the sheer shirt of my dreams from the Goodwill bins. I really like the overall style of it. It's a button-up shirt and has a nice solid black collar, but it is like 7 sizes too big for me. It comes down all the way to my knees, so I'm thinking maybe I could flip this shirt into a form-fitting dress for me. I'm not sure if this is gonna work out, but let's give it a try. Alright, so what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably cut this shirt like right around here, and I'm gonna make the bodice part form-fitting, and then I'm gonna take the bottom part and turn it into kind of like a ruffled skirt, and I'm gonna reattach it to the bodice. In terms of the sleeves, like they're surprisingly short for a shirt this huge. So if I try to make them into like normal, like if I try to like cut them off and then like reattach them here, they end up being kind of short and they come down at this like really awkward length. And also this part is super wide and I really don't want to redo the cuff, like it's kind of a pain in the neck. So I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make the sleeves like 3/4 length. Like, is that what this is called? Alright, so I'm going to get started by chopping off the sleeves, and then I'm going to mark how far I want the bodice to go, and then I'm going to cut the shirt in half along that line. Never mind, I think I'm going to mark the bodice length first, and I'm going to make sure that the seam is exactly on the top of my shoulder, because like this collar, because this part is a little heavier, it tends to droop a little bit, so I'm going to like make sure that it's even first, and then I'm going to decide where to cut it. I think I want it like right on the waist, like right where my current skirt is, and there's like a button right here, so I think I'm pretty much just gonna cut it like right where the buttonhole is, and then when I sew it, because there's gonna be a little bit of a seam allowance, like that buttonhole is just gonna go away completely. But wait, I might need a button there, because otherwise it's just gonna be like this gigantic gap between buttons. I'm gonna have to think about this a little bit. Maybe I will cut it a little bit higher then, so that I could still have the button in the right place. Okay, so I thought about this a little bit more, and I think I'm actually gonna keep the sleeves long, which means that I'm gonna need like every centimeter of the sleeve. So instead of cutting them off, I'm gonna use this seam ripper tool and just like seam rip as carefully as I can to keep as much of the fabric of the sleeve as possible. Okay, please forgive the sound of my sick voice in this voiceover. So I started seam ripping, and I realized that that's actually really not gonna work because the fabric was really fine, and as I tried to seam rip, I just kept like slicing through the sheer fabric. So I did this for a few moments, and I was like, nah, nope. Then I whipped out the scissors, and then I just started chopping off the sleeves. But very carefully to make sure that I could leave behind as much fabric as possible on each sleeve. Now that the sleeves were off, I straightened out the bodice piece, and then I cut it along the line corresponding to the mark that I had made earlier. And a nice benefit of working with sheer fabric is that I could actually use the lines on my cutting mat as guidelines. Then to determine the width of the bodice piece, I took one of the shirts whose fit I liked on me, and I used it as sort of a pattern. I loosely marked where I want to cut, leaving a little bit of a seam allowance. Then for the sleeve holes, apparently I just sliced. I didn't even mark anything, I straight up just started cutting. That looks so sketchy. I totally could have sliced through my good shirt doing this. Do not recommend. Probably should have just marked it with chalk and then followed the line. And then to make the bodice piece more symmetrical, I folded it in half and trimmed whatever pieces were sticking out. Then for the last stage of cutting out the bodice piece, I trimmed the front sleeve holes a little bit. Pinned it together and I'm trying it on just to see how it looks, and I like how it looks in the front. but on the back it's a little loose, so I think I might just add some darts to the back so that it's like a little bit more form-fitting. But overall, I think this is like, I like where I cut it. I think this is a good length. I think the shoulders are gonna fit decently where they are right now. So yeah, I think this is pretty good. So I'm gonna move forward.
Here I again took advantage of the sheerness of the fabric and used the guidelines on my cutting mat to mark where I wanted the darts to be symmetrically on the bodice piece. Looks like I made the width of each dart about 2 inches, and I made the height of the dart about 5.5. Now that I have both of the darts pinned and marked, I'm going to go to my sewing machine and use the straight stitch to sew these down. I just use a regular Singer sewing machine here. And first I'm going to lock the thread, take out the pin. Sorry about that creepy face cameo. Alright, do a little lock, and then I use a straight stitch to sew down where my other pin is. It kind of seemed like the straight stitch almost gathered the fabric, so I kind of had to stretch it out and even it out a little bit. And then I did the same thing for the other dart markings that I made. Okay, now onwards to the sleeves. I'm again going to use the shirt whose fit I like on me as sort of a pattern for determining the width of the sleeve for this shirt dress. And again, it looks like I'm just gonna straight up chop the sleeve without marking where I want to cut first. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to desymmetrize the sleeve at the armhole portion a little bit. I'm going to make the front a little bit narrower, so I'm just going to cut out this curve and make it a little bit deeper. And that's going to be the front side of the sleeve. And I'm going to do the same thing to the second sleeve, but I'm going to use my first sleeve that I cut out as a pattern for the second sleeve. And again, I'm cutting them out symmetrically first, and I'm going to unfold the sleeve and determine how much of this desymmetrization I have to do at the armhole. Now the sleeves are ready to be sewn onto the bodice. Now I'm going to take the bodice piece and I'm going to turn it the inside facing up, and I'm going to take a sleeve also with the inside facing up, and I'm going to match the front of the sleeve, the one that I cut out a little bit deeper, to the front of the bodice, which also had a slightly deeper cut to the armhole. When I aligned the sleeves at the armholes, I realized that the sleeve portion had a little bit greater length than the armhole part on the bodice. So what I decided to do, instead of like trimming the sleeve and making it narrower, I decided to just ruffle the sleeve at the shoulder. To do that, I just did a basting stitch at the top curve of the sleeve, and I pulled on the thread a little bit to create a ruffled appearance. Once all the pieces are matched up, I'm going to pin the sleeves to the bodice piece. After pinning the sleeves to the armholes, I'm going to use the serger machine to sew them together. And I kind of regret pinning the pins horizontally like that, because that's super dangerous. Like, if I just kept sewing right through that, like the serger would have sliced the needle and chunks of it would have flew into my eye. So just be super careful about the needles. Maybe use clips. Maybe don't use the pins. The ruffled part of the sleeve was kind of difficult to get through, but I got through it. And then I repeated the same serging process to the other sleeve and the armhole. The last step for the top portion of the dress is to close the side seams. This part is super easy. I just folded the front and the back together inside out, and I pinned the sides of the sleeves and of the bodice. And I regretfully again put the pins perpendicularly to the seam. I don't think that's a good idea. Honestly, should be using the clips. Like, I should just get some clips. I again use my serger machine to close these seams together. This looks so sketch, with the pins like all horizontal like that. Looks like I should have been wearing safety goggles or safety glasses. Buying a serger was such a good decision. The seams come out looking amazing. So after I wrapped up with the top portion of the dress, I then moved on to the skirt portion. And because it is so wide, I wanted to ruffle it a little bit. And I thought I had this brilliant idea to just stitch a straight stitch across the waist and then to ruffle the waist by pulling on the thread ends. I did stitch the straight stitch, but I could not pull the threads the way that I had envisioned it. And I think the step size was just too small of the straight stitch. Like closer to the ends of the threads, I was able to get some ruffling done, but as I got closer to the middle, I couldn't really ruffle. What I should have done is I should have just like sliced the thread, or I should have made like several segments and then just pulled on the segments separately. After much struggle, I did manage to ruffle the waist of the skirt until it matched the waist of the top portion of the dress. Okay, we're on the home stretch here, guys. I finally connected the skirt portion of the dress to the top portion, and I first pinned them together at the button panel. Then I folded both of them in half and I pinned the center on the back. Then I kind of just randomly stuck pins throughout, trying to keep the ruffling of the skirt spread out evenly. And in case it wasn't obvious, the seam is going to go on the inside of the dress rather than the outside. And here comes the big surge. Here I'm finally making that final seam at the waistline. Again with the pins. I was so over it by this point. This fabric was actually incredibly hard to work with because it is so flimsy, and then like the needle just like kept shoving it into like the depths of the sewing machine. But I somehow managed to get through it. I don't remember what the trick was. I think just, I don't know, just using my hand to kind of keep it taut. And you thought I was done. I thought I was done. I actually wanted to do this one last step just to kind of like tidy things up a little bit. So that surged seam at the button panel looked really horrible, so I did a couple of straight stitches to make it flat and neat. Then after that, I tied all the loose ends, and then I was actually finally done. Okay, I was so stoked about this dress that I thought it would be a good idea to try styling it. First outfit, I wore it with this chain metal belt, a skin-colored shirt underneath, and I wore this black skirt that I had since I was like 11. Also paired it with some black tights and these Doc Marten heels. They're kind of giving 2012 vibes. I don't know how I feel about that. Don't love it. This outfit, what the heck was I thinking? Looking like a Quaker with those white socks. I promptly took them off and switched them out for black socks,
And honestly, still don't love it. This outfit is just like not giving. I kept the black skirt, I put on a black leather belt, black tank top, I don't know, it's just not it. Ooh, this outfit I would actually wear. I wore these running cycling shorts underneath, and I kept that same skin colored shirt on the top, and the fanny pack. I wore a fanny pack as a belt. All right, that's cool. And I wore my favorite sneakers. These are the Palladium Revolt sneakers. I absolutely love them, and I wear them as much as I can. And I'll put some gray ankle socks underneath. I mean, I would wear this outfit to like go thrifting on a Saturday, just like super chill, super casual, you know, comfy. Yeah, this outfit is a real one. Ooh, this one's a little scandalous. On top, I'm just wearing a sports bra. On the bottom, I'm wearing those same black running shorts. And I got on those rag and bone sandals. If you know, you know. Yeah, it's a little risque, but you know what? When the Texas sun is melting pavement in a couple months, you know I'll be rocking this outfit. And all you haters who want to say something about all the skin showing, try living in Austin in the summer. While I was editing the video, I kind of felt like all these outfits weren't doing justice to the sheerness of the dress. So I styled one more outfit, kind of trying to be all creative, you know, like those fashion girls. And I must say the double collar is a bit much, but if I was feeling bold, I'd probably wear this outfit. So I'm wearing this just like a plain white button-up shirt, and I put on like a gray plaid miniskirt underneath so that I could kind of like display just how sheer this dress is. And the shoes, I thrifted them at the bins with my mom a while back. I haven't wore these yet, so maybe, I don't know, if I was feeling kind of bold, maybe I'd wear this to work. I wouldn't wear this to work. Like, I work in a lab. I can't wear these shoes to work. Realistically, I'd probably wear this to like hang out with my friend at a coffee shop. Or maybe if somebody was to like invite me on a date, maybe I'd wear this on a date. Yeah, I don't know. It's an outfit. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It's actually been like half a year since I recorded most of that video, but I didn't get around to editing it until now, unfortunately. But my goal for 2024 is to start posting on this channel regularly, and I'm hoping to post a lot of tutorials here. And I promise you, I already have another sewing tutorial in the works, so I'll be seeing you guys again very soon. Bye.